All right, my name's Richard Elsie, and I want to talk about white privilege. Now, the first question is, does white privilege actually exist? And I'm going to say yes. The reason I'm going to say yes is, and let me give you the reason, I was talking to a fella I know, and he's an Arab. He's an Arab, Muslim, person of color, he's brown. He was brought up in a village in Israel. Now, he explained, he says, Rich, if you and I walk into, let's say, a restaurant, any restaurant, he says, a lot of people are going to look at you, you're just an average customer. He says, but me, he says, even though I don't wear any gowns or, I don't dress like an Arab, he says, if they know I'm an Arab, and I'm a Muslim, and I'm brown skinned, he says, they do treat me slightly different. He says, now it's, am I going to get my food? Yes. He says, but it's the tone, and he says it's a little noticeable sometimes. He said he don't think it's racist or they dislike him. He says they just don't know me. He says they're afraid. All they've heard on the news is Muslims are bad and Arabs are the worst. They're going to come in and, bomb you. And he says, I'm not. He says, but that's the perception of a lot of people. He says it's the unknown. And then, we talked a little bit, and we talked about the American dream. Now, the American dream is whether you're white, brown, black, any person of color, any white person, anyone. So, what is the American dream? To be successful, to be happy, to live free. Which one of those things is either one of us not? I mean, I'm happy. I don't make $1 million a year. I don't have all the extra money to go on world trips and, but my kids get fed. I eat every night. I have a decent home to live under, a roof to live under. I got a great wife, great kids. I'm happy, great friends. Prosper, well, I'm not begging for food. I provide for my family. I think I work very hard, I think, 5-6 days a week, long days, even in the evenings. But that's what's necessary. I don't have a lot of luxury items. I don't need them. So I'm happy and I'm okay financially. I don't have a lot of extra money now. There's not a lot of extra money in that bank or anything, let me tell you. And I'm free. I live in America. We have, the freedom of speech is the biggest one that we have, in my opinion. I'm allowed to say anything I want. So, does that pertain to him? So I asked him, I says, well, you live in America, you have, he's an American citizen. I said, are you happy? And he said, well, yeah, he's a legal alien. Okay, are you okay doing your job? He does video games, and I don't know what they call those guys, the ones that work with, the video editing and creating games, and he seems to be doing okay with it. So, I mean, he's not hurting at all. So he seems pretty prosperous. And the last question was, are you happy? And he says, oh, I'm very happy. He says, my family live in Israel, Palestine. He says, I'm happy. I get to visit them. They come to visit me. My sister's in Stanford. He says, yeah. He says, I'm very happy. So we both achieved the American dream, even though he's a person of color. And he's an illegal immigrant that immigrated from Israel or Palestine. I mean, he is Palestinian, but he lives in Israel. So if he can do it, why can't anyone else do it? Rich, it costs. There's a lot of money. We grew up in a poor upbringing. Did I mention I was from rural Kentucky? Poor upbringing. Did my parents send me to college? They wish they could have, but they couldn't. So what had to happen there, I had to join the Army for 4 years. 4 long years, let me add that. Every day was long. 4 years. I get out of the Army. Okay. Because I was in the Army and I put in so much money, I got so much money back. For every dollar I put in, they put in $2. That was the Army, the Veterans Educational Assistance Program is what it was called. So I took that money and I went to school. Now, Was that a lot? No. I still had to work at UPS, United Parcel Service in Louisville, Kentucky. Now I work from like 11:30 to 3:30 a.m. every night. Well, 5 days a week, Sunday through Thursday night, then sometimes Fridays, you know, and so on. But that was extra money, overtime, and all that. So it was typically only 5 days a week, and also had to get a job at Sears Telecatalog from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. every night. I had to, you know, travel a little bit and work at Sears Telecatalog, is when they were still in business. And that was just to make ends meet. I drove a little Ford Tempo back and forth to college. You know, did my share of, you know, let's go to the bar and eat the appetizers they put out just so I can have some dinner. I mean, it was tight, you know, so I'm not saying it wasn't, but we did it. You know, we went through the college, you know, we got out of the college, and then it was into the workforce, you know. Okay, while I still could afford to live, I had to live with my sister until I, you know, got on my feet, you know, went to work, and we were doing landscaping, you know, home repairs, anything we could to make a buck, you know. So then I started driving a truck, you know, all over the United States, which is real exciting, but I did it until I found another job, and then I, you know, started in this. So it's not been easy for anyone, is what I'm saying. So the American dream to us, no matter who you are in the United States, is possible. You know, again, stay in school, you know, get an education, you know, no matter what the pressure is on you, move away if you have to, you know, but get an education, you know, graduate school, you know, don't start having babies until you are married. Now, I know that's hard for somebody because, oh, well, you know, I just had a baby, you know. Well, that, you know, again, that's not my fault. The only one that you can point a finger at is yourself, you know. So don't have babies until you're married, you know, and get a job, a full-time job, and work it every day. You know, they say if you do those things, you will be prosperous. Now, I ain't saying that when you first get a job making, you know, minimum wage or so that you're going to be real prosperous. You're not. But the more you work and the harder you work, and the more other people recognize that, the faster you can move up. And it's all through education, I believe. It's the more you learn, the more valuable you are to someone else. So, you know, learn. Keep learning. You know, trying to do the best you can. Work harder than anyone. You know, get up, get to work a little earlier, stay a little later. People notice that stuff. So, is there white privilege? Yes. But, even though there is white privilege, every one of us can get that American dream. We can find it. We can make it. You know, we can live it. So, the only one that's holding anyone back is individuals. So, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I've missed the whole thing, but that's my opinion. So the intention is not to offend anyone, and if I have, I deeply apologize to you, because that was not my intention. But tell me if you think I'm wrong. Tell me if you think I'm right. So anyway, talk to you later. Richard Elsie or Cyber Hobo. We'll talk to you tomorrow or sometime soon.